he's being oppressed.
Hello. This episode is going to be about motivation, especially motivation in IT. And I'm so deeply unmotivated to do this intro that I'm going to just roll it and then improvise all the way through it.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, when we are talking about faking it, in the last episode
Fake it till you make it.
I said that for the first 10 seconds of every lecture, when I want to fake my enthusiasm, I'm just going to start, okay, let's throw 30 years of this into the air and see what sticks. So what motivates you to do the lectures?
It's
Specifically
fun.
the lectures.
Okay. It's the fact that I translated hobby into a job. Okay, so that's the background reason for it. And
so I cannot understand why people pay me to do this.
That's your way of explaining it, but yes. And for me, I always try to be a part of something that's a little bit larger than me. That's the psychological reason, because you feel good when some things are like that, and education is just one of those things.
But it's much easier to just do swimming in the sea.
Yeah, but I'm not made for swimming in the sea, as I'm sure you know. So there goes that out of the window.
Okay. Anyways, we are
not done. Now you.
I will be completely honest and say it's enormously complicated for me to get motivated to start lecturing. But when I start, I just go into the flow and I feel better. And this is just one of those things when I say, okay, I have a problem for the first, as I said, 10 to 15 seconds of every lecture. And then after this, it's all smooth flow until the end.
So
because I like lecturing, I like talking about things that motivate me. I like to talk about things that make sense. But at the same time, it's hard to start.
Basically, what you're saying is that you and education should change your status to it's complicated.
My status with everything is complicated.
If Facebook was a metaphor of life, that's what it is.
Yes, but both of us being boomers, this is the thing that we should be thinking about. Some people don't even know what Facebook is anymore.
That's actually good.
Yes, that's good for them.
That's good motivation, actually, to excel at something, especially in IT. Okay. So.
Yes.
Where do you want to start? At the beginning of your story or the beginning of mine, or do you want to go in some other direction?
I think that we are sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of both of us giving our stories about something.
Okay.
Let's try to do the general motivation advice and how to. Let's do the life coach thing.
Oh hell
so
no!
let's imagine that we are life coaches for an episode.
Oh no!
So how to motivate yourself?
How to motivate yourself or others?
First, how to motivate yourself. I'm not into motivating others because I think that.
Wow, that's very self-aware of you.
Because I think that if I'm motivated, they are going to get motivated too. I don't think that I should be motivating them because that's facing it.
That's way too meta for me.
So it's okay. Let's start. What motivates you to be a better person?
We started like a bunch of idiots. Now we are going to the realms of crazy. We are progressing somewhere, I have to say. We are talking about motivation and motivation in IT, so I'm not going to answer a general question. What motivates me to be a better person, because that's too psychological for me.
Let me start from the other end.
Okay.
For the sake of it, I cannot be motivated to fix another Windows machine. This is one of those things. When somebody asked me, can you fix my Windows 10 or Windows 11? I said, no, screw it. You're on your own. The Windows is broken.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's unfixable.
It's unfixable. Go away. Reinstall it. And now I understand why every forum on the internet is going to tell you to reinstall your machine.
Because it happens to be very good
Because
advice.
eventually, as your knowledge grows, you suddenly realize that the amount of time it requires to fix a machine is going to be so huge compared to the amount of time that a single person can use to reinstall the machine, that why bother? Just install it.
I have a perfect metaphor for this.
Go to the store, buy another disk. It's going to be faster than what you have right now. Reinstall the machine. That's it.
So what you want to tell our listeners and viewers is that we are back in Windows 95 era.
Even worse.
Okay.
Because when you had Windows 95, preserving your data was not possible since you had to reinstall on the same disk. Now, a new disk that is going to be big enough for the system disk is going to be $40 or so. So just go buy another one, reinstall another set of the Windows installations, and then copy your data over. For a bonus, you're going to get additional disk.
So what you're saying is that people in 1995 didn't have two disks in their computers.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually being quite self-aware.
Yes, and the other thing
expensive.
is okay, but the other thing is that, as I said, this is only thing that I cannot motivate myself to do.
Okay, that's actually perfectly reasonable. You've done it 100 gazillion times, so it's probably getting a little bit stale and boring.
The problem is that it is not only getting stale and boring. It's just the thing that doesn't make any sense to do anymore. And this is joking aside, the deeper thing that I want to say. What motivates me is to do something that is different than what I did before. Okay. Repetition is demotivating for me. I can up to a point work with repetition. But if you ask me to, I don't know, copy paste 10 cells in Excel, that's fine. If you ask me to copy paste 100 cells in Excel, that's barely fine. If you ask me to copy paste 200 cells in Excel, no way.
Okay, I have a pet peeve. You reminded me of something. My pet peeve is not Windows. I just dislike using them in general, especially because we're using Windows 11 so much nowadays and they're just not good. Configuration of Microtech devices.
This is strangely specific.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
We got a request a couple of days ago by a client to help him configure another Microtech router for some kind of a remote location. Luckily, I was busy, so I didn't have to say no. And luckily, he was persistent enough to spend 3 hours of his day to copy-paste the configuration from the previous router, change some information and whatnot, so I didn't have to. But that annoys the S out of me, doing that. It's boring as hell, never works properly, it's always difficult. And actually, going from a horse to a donkey perspective, as we say here locally, when you learn that there are so many better devices that are not necessarily much more expensive, that can do that for you in much more straightforward way, you kind of don't want to go back.
I can relate to that. Mm-hmm. I will say that for me, this is almost the entirety of Cisco.
Okay.
And the reason is because I have seen what Arista did to Cisco's interface and how better it can be if somebody actually took care. So it's not that Cisco is complicated. It's not that I don't know how to use it, but the amount of not caring from their part about their own system
is proportional to you not caring about it.
Yes, and this is the problem. If they are,
or you not caring squared.
Yes, what Arista did to Cisco is they showed them how an interface can look like, what an interface is capable of doing, while being almost entirely similar to Cisco as legally possible. Even more than that, as we know. And yes. The thing is that Cisco didn't learn anything. They didn't learn from Arista. They just said, okay, you cannot do this. But the thing is that the interface itself is not better for Arista being there. And this is just annoying to me.
Okay. My next pet peeve. For the life of me, you cannot get me to change a disk in a storage device anymore. There needs to be somebody junior to do that, as I explained to my colleague, actually today in the morning. I needed, one of the disks failed, and I was just like, yeah, go fetch a disk and install it in its place. Is that the solution? Yes.
I am going to be completely opposite of this. Changing disks in computers motivates me because this enables me to stand up, walk a little, charge my normal rate for changing disks, which is my normal rate for doing anything, while basically having absolutely no part of my brain being occupied with anything.
I'm not in that specific scenario. I'm not paid by the hour, so I don't care.
Okay, I'm the one who's usually being paid by the hour, so I don't care.
I have fixed income for that. But even if it wasn't, even if it was paid by the hour, still bores the hell out of me. He can do it himself, so he did it. The storage device started rebuilding itself all by itself, which I knew is going to happen. So why should I bother? Because on top of it, he would have to wait for at least an hour for me to get to the office,
Okay.
and he was already there.
And why did he even call you?
Paranoia.
Aha, okay, dobra.
His motivation in IT.
I think that the thing is that the problem with some of the people with motivation is not the motivation itself, is the fear.
Fear is a good motivator.
Fear is a good motivator, but at the same time, fear can take you over, and in the IT, it can trump any motivation that you have to do something new.
Correct, which is the wrong way to do it.
Yes, and the reason why I wanted to talk about motivation, now all the joking aside, because we did too much of this, and we went...
You are starting to sound like one of our favorite podcasts.
Okay, so all the joking aside, the reason why I want to talk about motivation is the way that we are trying to motivate the students that we have, the way that we need to motivate people that we work with, while at the same time preserving our pretty specific, sarcastic way of talking about things and doing things. And I noticed that people who are outside of IT, first, don't understand the motivation that IT guys have, don't understand the dark humor that
it usually entails, yes.
Yes, the sarcasm it entails and everything else about it, because they, for some reason, they tend to get offended by all of those.
That's because there's a difference between doing stuff like education or IT versus many other types of work. It's not necessarily a job. That's the difference.
Okay, but for Pete's sake, I used to work with pathologists, and
Again,
they
not
are
the
the
job.
guys. Yes, but they're the guys who understand exactly
Dark humor and all of that, they understand very well. They actually initiate it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So this is a characteristic of some of the fields. So some of the fields are extremely off the rails when it comes to humor, when it comes to internal motivators, because you can also say that what can motivate you to become a pathologist? You need to be a special kind of person.
Yes.
And you need to be a special, I'm going to say analytical kind of person, in a pretty extreme way and in a pretty literal way. Because you are going to analyze
some dead people.
No, but you're going to be analyze them bit by bit. So you're going to be deeply analytical in it. And this is one of those things where I cannot understand the motivation. On the other hand, I was talking to a lot of pathologists, and I think that I understand that what motivates them is that they weren't inclined to do the IT, but they were deeply analytical inside them.
Okay.
So they decided to go the next best thing, and this is to see how people work or why they don't work.
No, as the case may be here, yes.
Depending on the person.
Okay, so we said that we're not going to talk about our stories for the past, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Can we talk about stories for the future?
Yes.
Okay, then I do have a topic that we could cover, or maybe a couple of them. What motivates me to do lectures now? Now, joking aside, and what motivates me to even further work even more on the topics for the lectures that we do. Okay, so there are two reasons. The first reason is that with time, after our students went through the ringer of year 2, year 3, probably year 4 in our college, then they get to the final year, and then I get to talk about the crux of the topics, of all of the topics in IT, which is design. That has become one of my favorite topics in the past couple of years. Reason being that after enough of experience working in a data center, working for clients, working for various projects here and abroad, locally, remotely, whatever, you kind of naturally fall into that perspective of working in IT. And that's insanely interesting topic in IT, how to properly design stuff. The reason why I became aware of the fact that I'm so interested in that is related to some of the courses that I did for VMware in the past 2 or 3 years related to design, NSX design, whatnot. Broadcom, okay, whatever. Somebody's going to be happy hearing this. And that kind of led me into the direction of rereading some of the documentation that I already read before, but I read it as a cursory notice. Now I had to read through those documents, validation documents by Broadcom, so that you're happy, because they were the topic of the course. That's a completely different outlook and outcome expected from there, and the initial thought process is different. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is PhD, but not for the obvious reasons, because everybody who knows me know very well that I don't really care about any of the titles. For me, they're completely irrelevant. It's not related to the title that I want to get. It's related to the journey towards the title and some of the topics that I had to cover as a part of that journey and the end result of that. Specifically, I'm going to say what I'm talking about. As one of the courses that I had to attend was related to high availability and fault-tolerant design. Again, related to design, because the first and the second topic are directly interlinked, that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. That actually led me down the rabbit hole of reading through some of the books related to fault tolerance and high availability in design, most of which were written in the 80s, and you have absolutely nothing to add to them. Hence, again, in some of the previous episodes, I mentioned byte issue number 1, the level, whatnot. It applies to that as well. Some of the books are just insane. That was a part of one of the courses for which I had to produce a seminar about high availability, and I had to present the seminar and whatnot. And that led me down the rabbit hole of not only reading through those books, which are not mandatory reading material. It was more related to the seminar that I was doing, which was related to VMware high availability designs and fault tolerance, specifically for just virtualized workloads, not related to cloud and whatnot. And that kind of gave me a complete different appreciation of the functionality of the technology, which we are covering in some of our classes. And also kind of helped me to kind of assemble some thoughts about this in a little bit of a different way. Because usually when you're teaching these topics, your end goal is to, within the realms of limited time period that you have, kind of teach that topic to a set of people in the simplest of terms, so that they can understand, let's say, first 2 levels of complexity of the topic, because that topic is hugely complicated in configuration, in practice, in various types of applications and whatnot. And if they manage to understand those 2 topics, architecture and the basic layer of configuration, you're good. Everything can stop there. And after that, they need time to understand what is it that they've heard on the course about this. We do that at the end of the semester for one of our virtualization courses. So those 2 things, so the some of the things that I did for design and whatnot, and some of the things that I did for PhD, those things are driving me nowadays and motivating me, because the end result of both of these things is the end goal of the PhD, which is the dissertation. Both of these goals are going to be treated there. And as a side from that, or as an input for that, it is some methodologies that I've kind of developed over the years and finally like vocalized or translated into words while I was doing these 2 processes. So that's my IT motivation, let's say, at its highest peak right now. Okay?
Okay, I'm trying to process everything that you threw at me.
Okay.
And to be
to
be completely honest, what I'm expecting is that you're going to do the second PhD.
No way.
Not because just for the motivation sake. Because I would think that you are going to, after you finish the first one, you are going to be inclined to do some sort of interdisciplinary, whatever, PhD or some other topic, because this is going to be the only
way to keep you motivated.
No, the only way to keep you interested in something new. Because you're going to finish the IT field, and then you're going to be motivated to do some
IT Mount Everest achieved.
Yes. So you're going to go with for the next lowest peak.
I am much more humble than that, as I'm sure you know. So you're trolling me in part, although the motivation behind your trolling is cool. But no, that's not going to happen. But what both of us are going to do, we're going to become lecturers in another field. In the field of acoustics, by the way.
Oh,
audio and acoustics.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Good to know.
I
like being informed on the
yeah,
podcast,
sure, I know.
the podcast about something I'm going to do.
The good part of that is you don't have to do anything about it. That's why you're going to like it.
So zero effort lecturing.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Your favorite.
Yes. So the other thing is let's talk about my motivation, because my motivation is much more complicated.
Give me a sec.
Yes.
You saying that I want to take the second PhD, joking or not, just tells me how well you know me.
But it's just the direct.
No, you're not wrong.
No. It's a direct. When somebody parses your answer about your motivation, especially part of the journey being the motivation itself, it seems that you need another journey.
Yeah.
You don't need the title. You need to try to get there, and you're going to get. You have
the journey
fun.
is always much more important than the goal, than the end point.
So we are becoming motivational speakers now.
I firmly believe in that.
No. We are just pushing this in the right direction.
No, I'm just doing the thing that you wanted to do. You said you want motivational speaking. I'm doing it.
So
you're the boss.
No, the thing is that with all the motivation things, I think this is one of the most prolifically misused subjects. Probably the second one to dieting.
Okay.
Because motivation, how to motivate yourself, how to create motivation, how to be a better person, how to motivate yourself to be a better person, and so on and so on and so on and so on. While some people need to read about it, some people just actually have the motivation inside themselves.
Yeah, and do something about it.
The problem is that some people do motivate themselves to do stuff that is completely unrelated to, I would say, anything functional or anything resembling something that can be useful.
Okay.
Some people are operational, like the both of us. So we like to do things that both make sense and work, do something, provide some useful function. And some people are just motivated to work on stuff that is both non-functional, but I wouldn't say useless. Let's say theoretical, abstract or theoretical physics, theoretical mathematics, and so on. Because I cannot, in any way or form, understand what would motivate somebody to work on higher mathematics and try to solve some problems that people are solving. It's not that I cannot motivate myself to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot even motivate myself to understand what those things are.
Or to think about them.
No. On how to create the mindset to be able to think about it.
Okay.
So I'm 2 steps separated from the actual topic, and this is the thing that interests me when it comes to motivation. Because why am I disinterested in mathematics, but so interested in, for example, I don't know, automation or Linux or whatever? So when I wanted to talk about this, I wanted to try to understand what is my motivation, what is your motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just try to get the people who are listening to this to try to explain what their motivation is for particular things.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Yes. The thing is that when it comes to IT, I see that I would say a large percentage of people who work in IT are pretty well self-motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I would say more than in many other fields.
Agreed.
And I don't see why this is the reason. What is the reason why IT is so interesting for the people? And could it be possible that it's because we were born in the time where computers
In the correct age.
in the correct age, in the time when the computers weren't so interesting or weren't so approachable, and is our motivation stemming out of this? And are the next generations going to be motivated in the same thing, or it is going to just become just one field in which to be motivated? So the percentage of motivated people is going to fall down.
Okay. I think that if I can use a metaphor again, for us, computers are just like AI for the current generation, in a sense. Something that's new and cool, or newer and cool, let's say, than what we had as concepts back then versus now. Just like it consumed us when we were much younger, it continued to consume us through high school, through college, to whatever, and everything afterwards, because we found I don't know how to call this. We found a topic, let's call it a topic, or some kind of a fine line, endless fine line, or some kind of a nest or whatever, of interrelated topics that are endlessly interesting for us, for the people that we are. Just like it's going to happen for a lot of young people nowadays with AI, or it's already happening. So that's the first part. So yeah, it was, for us, it was unachievable to have a computer for many years because they were prohibitively expensive. Just like AI is, in a sense of really using AI, not ChatGPT, whatnot. This is just fun. It's not real AI usage that we are talking about there necessarily. But let's say in the area of personalized AI, something like that, people will want to have that in the future, and there are some technologies for that already. For that, people are going to get, I think, equally as interested, but what remains to be seen is whether or not they're going to be long-term motivated by it, because the culture has changed significantly in the past, let's say 30 years, since that happened for us. And because of the lack of options that we had when we were younger, we didn't have as many options in anything in life. We were, from a young age, let's say, treated and learned to try to enjoy things longer term than what it is today. That goes with the attention span and many things.
But I think that there is also one more thing. Let me just interrupt you, because I want to just make one distinction. This distinction is that when it comes to AI, I want to... Okay, let me draw an analogy here. We were interested in computers, not because of their output, but because of how they worked.
Yeah.
People got interested in PlayStation, for example, or any console, because of the output, not because of how the console itself worked.
Yeah, that's changed.
And now the AI is probably the extreme of this, because the entirety of how the AI works is completely opaque to everybody. They just see the output. So you're telling me that the motivation for the people to go into the IT field can come from the AI?
No, for the AI.
For the AI, or... Okay. But it doesn't make as much sense to me.
I know. Me neither. Me neither, because at the end of the day, it's all about the AIs now. There are like thousands of them already available. For me, that's not as interesting a topic for my standpoint now as it was when we were younger, when computers were coming to the market.
I'm going to say that I had an experience with the AI today, because I'm experimenting with locally run AIs, and I was experimenting with the newest one. At the time of this recording, the newest one was Llama 3B by Meta. And it's comparable to what GPT-4 is doing right now in the AI world. In some areas, it's not completely comparable, because ChatGPT is much bigger. But the thing is that if you run it locally, Llama is capable of creating enormous amount of text.
Okay.
So it is able to create, I don't know, basically tens of thousands of characters of text without any additional prompts.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that what I saw today demotivated me as much as emergence of ChatGPT 3.5 or 3.0 motivated me for the AI.
Okay, explain.
And the reason is that when I saw how much output is a newer AI capable of, and I'm not talking about nonsensical output. I'm talking about output that was that made sense in particular case. In the case that I was using it too, I was doing some research and I was trying to create some sort of presentation. But the problem was that the way that AI was behaving said to me, okay, this tool is no longer as useful because it stopped being a research tool. It started being a content generation tool that doesn't give you brief information. It gives you information that you need to read. And if you ask an AI and in response get 50,000 characters of response, it takes you 20 or 25 minutes or half an hour to read it. And it doesn't make sense to use this technology anymore. I want a brief technology. I want a technology that is able to be pinpoint accurate on what I want to understand because I want to talk to it. I don't want it to be basically
a new version of the book.
No, even worse. You could call it ex cathedra technology because you asked it a simple question and then it throws enormous amount of information at you, loosely structured, and not easily digestible. So my motivation with AI is lower now when I've seen what AI can do and where AI is going right now.
Okay, I agree with you.
And this is the local AI that you're talking about.
Okay, I mean, generally speaking, less inclined to be interested by AIs nowadays because of the proliferation of them. In the future, that's going to definitely change. The same effect that you mentioned happened to me many times over. I actually did a couple of lectures a week ago on the topic of using ChatGPT in education and whatnot from both sides of the fence. So for me, yeah, but the big interest in that specific tool and many others is just, it's not as big. But that might be actually also rooted in the way in which we came across computers when we were younger. I don't know how to put this. Maybe it's going to sound harsh, and it's not something that I intentionally I'm going to say. I don't see the passion in people for technology that we had when we were younger. Or I see the passion divided into multiple different topics, none of which are bringing you any kind of permanent, real interest. And your metaphor about input versus something crunching versus output is perfect example of that. Because when computers came, when they were popularized in the 80s, we were very interested in the way in which they work. Very, very interested in the way in which they work. You know, you were not happy, you and me. I'm talking about specifically us now, because we wanted to know how all of that happens. We read magazines, we read the books that we got with computers, tried to learn some programming, stuff like that. So we were interested in the topic, not in the output of the topics.
Yes, I know. And this is the reason why I was interested in why do you think that future generation is going to get motivated by AI, while at the same time they are almost exclusively seeing the output, and the engine by itself is so far away and so hidden behind the...
Because of the lack of knowledge about how that works, lack of knowledge about how to ask the correct questions, at least in the current state of the AI, and because they are most young people, especially our students, let's use them as an example, they're treating it as a shortcut. That's how they're using it. They're excited about it to the extent of how much work it can do instead of them, which is exactly the opposite of what we were doing when we were younger in terms of learning about technology and computers. But it's still a massive topic that they are bombarded with from all of the social media sites and whatnot, and they're much more prone to accept that influence than we are. It's the volume of it.
Okay, but the thing is that also that what I'm trying to get my head around is we also were interested in the result.
We were not interested. We were curious.
No. But what
It's
we
different.
had. Let's draw another analogy. Let's talk about cars, and let's say that what we had way back then was more or less skeletal look how a car could look like. So the engine was out, the entirety of the drive shaft and everything else was out in the open. What they can see right now is something akin to a car that is completely closed, black box without any possibility of a person actually opening the hood, seeing under the hood, and but the car drives great. It behaves great. It doesn't waste too much fuel, so the fuel economy is okay. And it's hard to get motivated to see what's under the hood.
That's because people, as things develop, become much more utilitarian.
Yes.
Very simple. All of the vast majority of, as I said in some of the previous episodes, if we only look in computer science and any other engineering aspect of today's society, it can be mechanical, electrical engineering, whatever, doesn't really matter. Most of the inventions happened, why? So that we don't have to do something.
But this is the same with AI.
Yeah, exactly my point.
AI is a shortcut, and I'm not.
It's not necessarily a good shortcut, but it's still a shortcut.
I find it an interesting shortcut because when I want to, okay, this will sound strange. When I want to talk to somebody about a particular topic, it's much easier to just start a conversation with an AI than to go searching on Google, simply because when I'm trying to learn something about something extremely specific,
okay,
the AI is better than the Google when it comes to searching for keywords. Because if I don't know what I'm talking about, AI is going to give me the keywords to enable me to search more. Probably the first prompt. Google is going to take me 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 searches before I'm able to understand what the keywords are for the particular topic. So the shortcut is there, and I use it specifically for this purpose.
Okay.
For example, if I want to know something about, I don't know, how is a part of the, sewing machine called. It's much easier to ask AI because it's going to give me an overview of how this thing works and what the parts could be named, so I can then do a search instead of me trying to first find the language, find the word, and for.
But you're using it as a little bit in a little bit of a different fashion. You're using it to filter down stuff to the nitty-gritty details.
Yes.
Versus
so the shortcut.
To shortcut, but real shortcut. What our students are doing, and actually some of the reports that I've gotten over email in the past couple of days, you were in those emails as well, they're using it for a different type of shortcut. A lot of younger people are. But they most of them want to get rid of learning and working by using AI. You want to continue working, or you want to have, reinforced learning mechanism by using AI. That's what you do. You narrow down the topics and then read about them. You use AI as a tool to narrow down some information, to get the keywords or some basic information about it. That's not the way in which most people are using it, from what I can see.
So my motivation to use the AI in this particular case is just, I could call him whatever.
Time saver.
A librarian.
Okay.
Because the librarian doesn't know what's inside all the books. But he can or she can probably recommend which books are the good starting point for a given topic.
Okay.
And this is what AI provides me. The ability to go to the knowledge and say, okay, this particular bit of knowledge is more important than this particular bit of knowledge, so I need to learn this first. And this is the shortcut that I'm expecting for. But I don't see this being motivation for everybody to go into the IT field.
As Anna was saying a couple of episodes ago, the reason why it's good to learn these topics and go to college to learn them is actually because we are time savers. We are the filters. We are teaching people how to get from point A, not knowing something, to point B, solve the problem, without them having to go through 100 books or pages or web pages or AI prompts, whatever. We are good time savers in that respect. So, yeah, that's the way in which I would use AI as well. But there might be other reasons why, or other factors that can be treated as motivation IT, and Lord knows that a lot of people get into the IT area of IT STEM education in general because of material reasons. That can be a huge motivator.
Yes, I'm completely. Okay, let's just put financial part aside.
We shouldn't, but okay.
Yes, but did you see the video that I sent you? The specific to creation market. The video about motivation for young students. How much do they expect of money to get when they finish the university?
No, where did you send that one?
The WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll look at it later.
Yes, the thing is that the motivation for young people seems to be stemming directly from the financial, for some of them, directly from the financial.
They are much more inclined to think in that fashion than we are.
And the thing is that what is happening is that you are suddenly, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that you are telling me that you have people who are motivated by strictly financial things, so basically money.
Or motivated in a large part.
Taking shortcuts to finish the education as fast as possible, using AI for this. So this is going to be the motivation to use the AI for.
No, I'm not talking about AI in that respect at all. I'm talking about motivation in IT.
Okay.
As a general topic. AI can be a part of that, doesn't have to be a part of that, depends on the person. I'm just saying that people find motivation to go into the IT because one of the reasons is usually the lucrative aspect of IT. That's it.
But I wouldn't call IT lucrative. I would call
what would you call it?
If I wanted to do something lucrative, I would probably go into, I don't know, oil, geology, and those
geology.
Things. Yes.
Holy moly.
Yes, but when you take a look at the pay that you can get when you're doing IT compared to, I don't know, for example, drilling or creating new solar technologies or creating new technologies as such, batteries and so on.
I want to imagine you as a saturation driver right now, diver.
No. That's not for me. That's not for me.
Dude.
Google buy for dolphin. No, that's not for me.
Okay.
So I'm just not going to go there. But I would say that there are, if you take educated look at what the salaries are for different fields, I wouldn't call IT probably the most lucrative field.
Okay, but it's still lucrative enough.
Yes, okay.
For most people.
Yes, but this shouldn't be the only motivation.
It absolutely shouldn't.
It didn't motivate us. It didn't motivate us. We didn't know that this is going to happen.
No, we were lucky.
We were lucky. We were extremely lucky. And I remember that when I was growing up, people were comparing computers basically to fine mechanics. Mm-hmm. A lot of people thought that the computers are going to be just the next thing that we are going to be working on in large companies. So you're going to be servicing computers the same way that people were servicing
cars.
No, not cars, but adding machines and so on.
Okay.
So you're going to be the specific person who is going to be taking apart computers, taking them back together, and then putting them back into the production, which we are sort of kind of doing right now. And this is the reason why I'm demotivated by Windows. Because I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And exactly the reason why I was so motivated in the past couple of weeks to do some small bits and pieces of projects for either my external or local clients, or helping somebody, as we did for the past couple of days, to solve some problems that we had in some of the production environments for certain competitions as well. It's actually the simple fact of life that because of the fact that we are working for the corporate entity that we are working for, it just sometimes happens that a lot of side work falls into our laps, which is always hugely interesting for me. That's one of the reasons why I find our work to be interesting. The lucrative aspect of that is a side effect. It can be, doesn't have to be, usually is, doesn't have to be, it just depends. But it's a side effect of working, and actually it's a side effect of working prior to that for many years to become somebody who somebody calls, Ghostbusters methodology when they have a certain problem. But still, from the perspective of the difference between various types of people, and especially over the years, in order to get there, to get to that point, which is what we are having discussions right now with our assistants about, because they want to get to this point fast. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Again, motivation from that point of view, and especially in education, if you have good role models, which I think our young assistants nowadays, they kind of do have. We could be better, but we are good enough, I think. What they should learn out of that is to get motivated to learn, not to become us. Actually, they need to think about how to overcome us, which in some of the respects they already did, which is excellent. The greatest thing when you're doing education. But still, a lot of those things are driven by either status or money nowadays. For us, it wasn't like that. We reached certain, not necessarily high status, and certain amount of income via many years of doing these things over and over and over again, really learning about it.
If I was motivated only by money, I wouldn't be doing this.
Sure, me neither.
Right now, the
education would probably be one of the last things that I do.
If right now money is much better in, for example, I don't know, laying tiles, or painting.
Yeah, ceramics, painting, yes, whatever.
So it's just that motivation that drove me wasn't the motivation that drove me wasn't the money. Yeah. It was the curiosity. It was the idea of understanding how things work. And the idea of making those things work, the things that I want to be done.
Which is called sense of purpose.
Okay.
You wanted motivational speaking. There you go.
There you go, accusing me of having a purpose.
Yes, you do.
Yes, but on the other hand...
professional growth.
Okay, professional growth, yes. But this is the same thing that motivates you.
Yes, larger right now and for the past couple of years and for foreseeable future. I find, for some reason that I cannot necessarily put into words, I find the work that I'm doing right now with all the papers and the conferences and journals and whatnot, I find that to be immensely intellectually satisfying, which is, for most people, the most boring thing to do in education. Or actually, to go even further, the most frustrating part of the work to do. I know you don't like referencing things in your papers. That's usually, most people don't. Writing references for a paper or in a book or in a seminar paper or something is boring as hell. But for some reason it's cool for me now. But I'm also spending a lot of time educating our younglings to do it. We have one of them who is very good at it, actually very detail-oriented and whatnot, and offering a lot of help. But still, we are teaching people how to do that because they want to. That has a secondary, side effect, which is actually what I'm working on as a shadow project, which is that we need to teach our younglings to do documentation.
Yes, we also need to teach ourselves to do documentation, because it's sometimes hard to do documentation when you're trying to do something creative, because you tend to forget to document steps.
Yeah.
Because you basically going on the tangents and you are not sure how to get from point A to point B, because there is a lot of points between those two. So documentation is something that we need to teach ourselves. But with this, I'm going to finish, because I want to say that this should be another episode for us. The documentation.
Oh, yes.
Documenting things, but not only documenting things specifically in IT, but also being able to generate comprehensive and coherent set of documents that explains something. This is something that people fail to know how to do. They need to teach themselves how to be able to document whatever. Documentation on how to put stuff in the fridge. Mm-hmm. Documentation on how to do anything can be a special episode.
It can, and it will, but let's not stop there. Let's add a couple of more things to the table without documentation.
Because from my part, I have exceeded the amount of motivation that I had to talk about motivation.
He's low motivated.
So I need to find a mentor to talk me through the motivation.
Yeah.
So let's.
Are such a troll.
Yes.
Actually, one other thing that I want to mention, which motivates me not only to do education, not only to do IT, but specifically to do most of the work that I do nowadays, is related to something that you mentioned many times over, especially in our conversations outside of work, which is collaboration. The way in which we specifically structured our team, the way in which we interoperate, integrate, how we cover each other, how we, jump through hoops to make it easier for everybody else to do something, the way in which we are able to kind of like trade places if we need to, if something comes up that's very urgent, like it happened last week, for example, stuff like that. Those are hugely motivating factors for me because they kind of, how should I put this? They kind of, they have a different type of impact on the way in which you consider the work that we do, at least in my regard, and you being even more socially adept in those terms. I know you feel the effects of that too. You said numerous times that if we weren't the team that we are, you would be long gone. And that's a part of my decision-making process and my motivation to do some of the things that, actually a lot of the things that I do, because if nothing else, IT specifically, and as a sub-part of that, the IT education part of it, if there's anything I learned along the way, since I started doing those two things, is to how to play for a team, even better than what I used to do in the past. And I was into team sports, so I was already predisposed to that very early on. So I already understood the algorithm. But what we are doing now as the team of 4 of us, for example, specifically, this is just way beyond any algorithm that can be explained. That's a huge value for all of the stuff that they do, hugely motivating because, when you have a good team in work, everything is so much easier. So very motivating.
Okay. I can say that I'm with you on this, but it doesn't motivate me.
It doesn't to me.
No. I'm different. Working without such a team is what radically demotivates me.
Yeah.
So if I'm unable to find such
one minus.
Yes. So I consider this a normal environment, and if I'm unable to find this environment, I'm just going to be completely demotivated to do anything, and I'm just going to pick my stuff and go.
Basically, what he's saying, I said it in the plus way. He says plus minus way.
Yes, but this is actually what I want to see. I want to see a team that functions. Because without a team, I'm unable to navigate the IT landscape. Because the IT landscape, as it is too complicated to be covered by any one person right now. So having a team is a must.
Yeah, but we have some topics to cover there, and there are some certain things that at times we are not aware of. One of them is that the things that we do usually have lasting effects on people around us, especially in the realms of the 4 of us working towards the same goal together. Sometimes I am overly motivated to do stuff, and I'm aware of that, and that can be annoying as well. But sometimes, for example, you are demotivated to do stuff as well.
Yes,
it happens. The thing that we are very much aware of now, or we are more and more aware of as years roll by, as you work in the same environment with the same people, as you build a good team and whatnot, is that you become not only aware of the inter-team dynamics. That's something that happens naturally. It's actually the knock-on effects of one tile not working as well with the other and whatnot. Because the knock-on effects of me not doing something that you need and you not doing something that I need prior to doing something else can lead to very disastrous results in our area of expertise. For example, in education, it's much more visible than anything else. Because although you said the IT landscape is too big for any one person to kind of like know everything about, there is actually the opposite to that. You are perfectly capable of handling your own clients with all of the stuff that they have, and they don't have necessarily just a small bitsy piece of environment. Mine are the same as well. So there's the individual part of that, so individuality in approach to that, but there's also the team approach to that. And for me, for this 10 years that I've been doing this work for the university, and 10 years prior to that being a trainer where I was a solo player, those two things could not be more different. They're exactly at the opposite ends of the scale. And this is much more rewarding.
Okay, let's finish there.
Yes.
Because I must say that lecturing is rewarding. Lecturing is rewarding because otherwise we wouldn't be doing it.
I told you, it's a hobby of mine. Since I was very young, I liked doing lectures. In one of the previous episodes, I mentioned my drummer from a band. I was teaching him to play tennis when I was in the 6th grade or something like that, because I was training.
Okay.
So I have a long history of working with younger people and long history of trying to teach stuff that I know to others. So it was kind of when I started thinking about it, actually a couple of weeks or / months ago, it kind of dawned on me that I was probably predetermined to do this either way.
I must say that I wouldn't
say the same for yourself.
Say the same for myself, yeah, because okay. I wouldn't say that I would call myself a teacher or a lecturer when I was 20 or even 25.
Okay.
Because I like to talk to people, explain the things to people, but I wouldn't call it lecturing. Also, I didn't like to formalize too many things. Mm-hmm. I would ad hoc explain the concepts to people and teach them something, but I wouldn't formalize this as a formal education to somebody or create a course out of it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do something structured. I was just here and there do some kind of explanations and things like this.
That's exactly what you were lacking.
Yes, I know. This is why I'm here at where I'm right now.
Exactly the same thing happened to me. It's a carbon copy. It's just the difference in the time when it happened. Because I was perfectly happy doing solo work like you did before you started working with us. But after I started working with for this company that we work for today, I started noticing things that I previously completely ignored, for the good and the bad of it. And there are bad things about it as well. But luckily not in our office.
Yes.
That's, for me, again, key motivator.
Okay, thank you for the motivational part of the motivational episode.
No problem, Jordan.
I'm going to finish this one off.
Yes.
Now you have crossed all the lines.
Yes.
So this has been the ThatITShow on motivation and what motivates veteran. And you. And thank you.
And IT.
We are going to see each other next time, and until then, see you and bye, and have a nice whatever day, night, whenever you're watching this.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.